Hey everybody, welcome back to my basement shop. I apologize to my regular viewers who are not really into the tool sale video, the tool find videos. I know I've been kind of leaning kind of heavy on that lately, and it's just been a lot of this stuff is just stuff I picked up near the end of the summer and start of the fall season, and I really want to get it put away, try and get some space cleared here. I want to try and get some of the projects that I plan on doing over the winter that are well, one of them is actually outside under a tarp. I really want to get a couple of those items down here in the basement, at least down here in the basement, out of the weather, and hopefully we can get to them over the winter and get a couple of new pieces of equipment set up here in the shop. So in the meantime, I'm going to knock out a video right now, hopefully squeeze it all into one episode, maybe two at the most. And this is going to be a series of picks I ended up getting from an estate. This was a retired machinist, advertised that he had several items for sale. I saw a couple items that kind of piqued my interest. The prices were a little higher than what I really would normally want, but I established communication and found out that he had some other items too, and I figured maybe if I got there face to face and we talked turkey, so to speak, that we'd be able to come to terms. And I ended up getting a pretty good haul out of there. I think in the end, we went back and forth, and then finally, he initially turned down my offer on the whole lot, and then we started pulling some stuff out, and I got him to agree to prices on individual things, and then we were looking at what was left, and finally he said to me, well, you were at 200, I wanted 300. Why don't we meet in the middle at 250? And I said, I looked at what was left on the table, and I said, we're going to get there probably anyways. I'll do that. A little bit more money here, but I got some nicer stuff, I think. So let's check that stuff out now. Oh, I just wanted to mention before I get to these items, I appreciate everybody who's recently subscribed. We're moving right along with the subscriber count. We're up over 10,600, I think, at last count, so we're closing in on the 11,000 subscriber mark, which is kind of nice. But anyway, so if you're not already a subscriber and you like these kind of videos, or you just like small machine shop project videos, or you like to see old equipment being purchased and rehabbed, whether it be an outboard motor from 1972, a tractor from 1950, or an old lathe from 1916. Let's get right to it. And as always, if you like this video, please hit the like button. So everything I got at this estate, we were able to fit into two boxes, one large box and one small box. We'll do the small box first. One little bit of housekeeping, just technicality, but I inadvertently had forgot to include this in the last video. The one of the bundles of items I had put together at the Zagray Farm Flea Market tractor swap meet picks included this, and I forgot. I think what happened was this opened up inside the pouch that I was carrying it in, and all of these spilled out, so I had to go fish them out, and I put them all back in here and totally forgot about it. So this is just a little must be generic branded indicator point set. I got so many of these, I might just sell this. Although I think the reason why this caught my eye and I wanted it was because of this attachment right here. I do not have one of these. So this is kind of an unusual little deal here. It's a flat blade that you can screw onto the end of your indicator. And the nearest I can figure this would be for indicating in a groove. I figure that's for indicating in a groove. I don't know how often you might want to do that, but it's an interesting little attachment. I wish the case wasn't all busted up. That's how this all fell out all over the place before. But anyways. So this gentleman was under the impression that every single item he had was worth at least $25 or more. That's where we get to a sticking point, because there were some items that I definitely believed were, worth the 25 and some weren't. This caught my eye. I saw this. This is one of the items he did post. He actually posted a large vernier height gauge, which it turned out was a import foreign one, and he wanted quite a bit of money for that, so I passed on that. But also in the photo was this, and in the photo there was nothing to give scale, so I couldn't tell how big this thing was. And then when I got there and I saw it, I was like, oh, that's pretty neat. So this thing is standing, well, let's see, the height from the base to the top is about 12.5 inches. The top of the post here is about 12.5 inches. But it's it's an indicator stand, I'm imagining. It looks like, that's what I think it is anyways. But it's more like a height gauge, the way that it's designed, because this knuckle doesn't swivel. So it's almost like you could, you know, set this on a surface plate and just touch the top off on something maybe, and then come over and touch, or mount an indicator on here. Yeah, I guess you could mount an indicator on here and indicate, but it's kind of an unusual deal the way it's set up. If I take this rod out and I flip it over, then overall top height's pretty high, so that makes it almost kind of like a little bit of a convertible, right? It's got a clamp here, okay, but once I loosen that, then the idea is you turn this wheel, and this gives you fine adjustment of this post right here. Now, I don't know whether or not it's supposed to turn more than the amount it's turning right here, or whether or not by design it's supposed to only have that little bit of leeway. But it may very well just be all gummed up and seized up. But I've never seen one of these, and I've had quite a few height gauges and surface gauges go through my hands, and I've never seen one of these. So this is an American Standard Company of Plantsville, Connecticut. American Standard Company of Plantsville, Connecticut. So it is a very unique stand. I'm wondering if I could find a picture online. Maybe I could see if this is missing anything. Well, it must be pretty rare, because I've just done a pretty extensive search online. For one thing, I can't find one of these on eBay that has sold in the past 6 months or is currently active. When I do a search for the company, apparently they are a company known for metal spinning. I think they now are still in business, but have changed names and moved to another part of Connecticut. That's the old plaque on there. Not Plainville, Connecticut. Plantsville, Connecticut. So I don't know. It's a mystery. Probably just going to end up being another old hunk of junk I'm going to have hanging around here forever. Let's see what's left in this box. All right, some hole gauges. These are general hardware. At least that's what's left of the case says. Sometimes they get mixed and matched though, and you got to check and see. Well, there you go. There's a Starrett 579 that's in this case. Another Starrett. There's a general. Well, that's a pretty messed up set there, huh? We got 3 generals. It's interesting. 2 of these Starretts are 579 series, and one of these is a 229 series, which makes me wonder what the heck's the 229 series. So I learned something new about the Starrett hole gauges here. So the 229 is the original Starrett version here, okay? And the 229, this does not move. It's a rigid, and this is the telescoping side. Okay, so that means that this handle is attached in a position so that depending on the hole size, the handle may or may not end up being in the center of the hole that you're in. In other words, if you're in a small hole, you can see the handle is going to end up being right near the one edge, and in a larger hole it'll be closer to the middle. Whereas the 579 series, which they came out with later, this series here, hopefully that was all on video. This is rigidly attached. This is the plunger side. 579 plungers on both sides, therefore making this what they call self-centering. When you put it down in the hole, the idea is that it's going to pretty much center itself. So, interesting. Oh boy. I sure hope I got a lot of money tied up in that other box, because this is unimpressive so far. Oh, okay, here we go. These are kind of nice. These are a pair of 813 Brown and Sharp dividers. These are made in England. Very nice condition. And the size, these are big as dividers go. This is probably the largest. This might be the largest set of dividers I own now. Probably going to sell it though to somebody who really appreciates Brown and Sharp. So they're like from the fulcrum to the points, they're 8 inches. So from this fulcrum right here to the points is 8 inches. So that's a good sized set. And it's interesting. They're made in England. There was a time when Brown and Sharp had a plant over in England manufacturing for shipment to Europe. I have a very nice Brown and Sharp depth micrometer set that's 0 to 12 inch, which is a very big set. You know, you see 0 to 9 inches, but 0 to 6 is common. 0 to 12, 0 to 9 inches, you know, are nice, but a 0 to 12 is pretty uncommon, and it's made in England. It's very nicely made. So these are nice. I like these. I don't quite know what the story is with that. This is a Starrett edge finder. It's a model 827B. The 827B has the pin end. It's a dual-ended one, but it's a pin on one end and it's the cone on the other end. And it's in good shape. And the great thing about this is that after I ended up buying this, we ended up finding the box with some other stuff in it, and the box was the box for this. So that'll be coming up. All right, here's a nice little Starrett number C493B protractor. So the C, I think, designates the fact that this is a satin chrome finish on this. So this is a nice little protractor. I think I already have one. It's engraved on the back with somebody's name, but I think I already have one, so I'll probably end up selling this one. Cant twist clamps. Cant twist clamps are great, especially for holding things together for welding and other applications, especially the smaller ones. So I got a pile of cant twist clamps. These are all fairly decent size. And then a couple of these really, really small ones. They only have, I think, one size smaller than this. I think these are like considered an A or something like that. And then I think there's one size down from here. And then it's funny, when they get down to the next size down from this, they don't have the little T-handle like on all the big ones. And even on this one, it's got a T-handle. They go to a little knob. I think I only have one or two of the really small ones with the knob on them. And then I've got a couple of these maybe. And then the larger ones, now I have quite a few. I'm going to hold on to those. Another one of these quick quill stops that you just snap onto your threaded rod on your quill on your Bridgeport or your milling machine du jour. In my case, it's a Wells Index, but it's got the same size rod, so it works pretty well. And this gives you a nice quick stop, depth stop. And I've sold quite a few of these over the years. They're pretty popular. Nice little Jacob's chuck on a straight shank. It's actually a Jacob's shank on here too. This is a Jacob's 1A, 0 to 1/4 inch capacity. I already looked at the jaws on this. Very clean, nice little chuck. This is a screw pitch gauge, and it's a Miller's Falls, which caught my eye. So I'll probably end up selling this because I don't need it. I've got all the screw pitch gauges I need now. But this will probably be a nice buy for somebody. I'll give them a good deal on it, and it'll be a nice, good, usable screw pitch gauge, but also a nice collectible because it's Miller's Falls. Miller's Falls of Greenfield, Massachusetts. Yet another radius gauge set. They're all mixed up in here, so I'm going to have to go through to see how complete it is. And of course the pouch, as they often do. The plastic gets brittle and it breaks at the hinge point there. And there's no handle in there, but that doesn't mean that there was one in there. Sometimes they're not included, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, this whole set is apparently, so here's the weird thing about this. Like, I just pulled that one out, and it's marked Starrett. But you see, that's a Lufkin. Now, the Starrett should be a red case. So this is probably a Lufkin set. We may never know because the case is so worn. So I'm going to have to go through that and see what we got, and see how incomplete or complete that set is. That's kind of a bust. This I did like. This is one of the things I think he actually undervalued. This is a Starrett pin gauge set. So this says it's an S240. I'm just going to check and make sure. It should be an S240 ABCD. Okay. And actually it does look like it might be, yeah. Yeah, these are all 240. There are a couple different styles on these, so that's why I said I got to check and make sure that they're not mixed up. And you know, they don't do a good job of marking these where you would expect it. They're marked on the far end. In other words, I'll pull the large one out here and show you. They're actually marked here. Whereas a lot of these, I see them marked up on this end. So I have a pin gauge set, not in a pouch like this, but it's the other series. It's the series with the black Bakelite little plastic handles. I already have that set. But I don't have a complete set of these. I just have a few odd ones, which I don't know what I'm going to do with those. Probably offer them for sale and see if anybody wants them. But I think I'm going to keep that set for myself just the way it is. We were having trouble agreeing on price, and I started pulling stuff out. One of the things that I grabbed was I said I'd be interested in a tap wrench, and he wanted me to make him an offer. So I got this for $5, and I didn't even look at who made it. I just wanted it because it was a nice little tap wrench for $5, and I was secretly hoping to myself that it was a Starrett. And it is. It's a Starrett 174. It's a little beat. It's been around, but it's just a cute little, nice little Starrett tap wrench, and I don't think I've got one of these this size. That's a little one. Well, that's interesting. That's an unusual one because it's a 174. Couldn't remember, but it turns out all of my Starrett tap wrenches that I have right now are my keepers are all 91s. So the 91 series tap wrenches, and then so they go by letters, like the 91A is this size, and then the next size up is 91B and C and D. So this is a little bit different animal, huh? Well, there's my explanation right there. Tap wrenches up top there, 91 series. The sizes are A, B, C, and D, and then down here at the bottom they show the 174. Okay, which is for size 0 to number 14. So these are for little machine screw taps. That's what this wrench is for, and it's the only one in that series. It stands alone, the 174. Huh. That is cool. Unfortunately for me, can't make any money selling this because I don't have one, so I want to keep it. But fortunately for me, I now have a 174 tap wrench. Huh. Yeah, that 174, I just checked on eBay. Previous sold ones. One sold for like 12 or 13 bucks, but that was the unusually low-priced one. Most of them sell for $26 to $30 for that little sucker. This is a indicator clamp mount, model 178, which means that it's for a 1 7/8 inch spindle nose, which is your standard J-head Bridgeport spindle nose, and consequently same as my Wells Index mill, but I already have one of these, so I'll be able to let this go down the road. I've sold a few of these in the past. These are really handy. This is made to clamp onto your spindle nose, and then that allows you to stick an indicator in here and basically run around the outside or inside of a part. So here's a nice find. This is a Starrett number 599 planer gauge. It's very clean. The Japanning lacquer is in excellent condition. It's all intact. The vial is not broken. All the surfaces are really nice. I don't see any dings or nicks in it. Rust is, pretty much rust free. And on top of all that, the fact that it has all of these extensions is pretty surprising. It's got the short one, the middle intermediate one, and the long one, and another long one. I think at the most you would expect maybe it came originally with the 3. Maybe. Then he's got this other long one, so I don't know if he had another planer gauge at some point or whether or not he actually ordered an additional one. And then I was at the used tool store and in the junk pile a couple weeks back. I think I got this for like 25 or 50 cents. I spotted it because being an old tool hoarder or tool picker like myself, I recognized it right off as being a planer gauge extension, and I was pretty sure it was a Starrett, and now I'm positive it is because looking at these others, it's a dead-on match. It's actually a match for that one right there. So I got to look now and see which one I have and the condition it's in and make a decision. The only thing that would have made this a little bit sweeter would be if it had the original case that it went in. So this was part of the bundle. Again, this is a thing I think he was kind of surprised that I wanted this because this is kind of old school. But they can be a handy thing to use even today. And for those of you who don't know, you've got multiple threaded holes that you can mount these extensions in. And there's also, if you remove this one, there's a hole this way. So you can actually also screw one in this way and then flip this up on its side and use it like so. And the reason why it's called a planer gauge is because my understanding is it was used to set the tool height on a planer, which for those of you who don't know what a planer is, it's a very antiquated old machine that has a ram that travels back and forth, and every time it goes forward on the forward stroke, a cutter takes a little shaving off of whatever you're milling, and then what happens is it comes back and it kicks the table over a tiny bit and takes another tiny shaving, and it'll just do that. And when they invented the milling machine, that pretty much made that machine fairly obsolete, but there's been kind of a resurgence, a renaissance, if you will, of those. Adam Booth, YouTube rock star, has a big old Gould and Ebenhardt. I think he just actually got another one, an even bigger one, if you can believe it. But anyways, I'm just going to take a quick look at my other one and we'll figure out what the heck I'm going to keep. Ha! Joke's on me. I have a Lufkin. So my keeper is a Lufkin, about the same size. Okay? And the reason why I don't have a Starrett in my private collection is because the Starrett planer gauges have a high resale value, and the Lufkin is considerably lower. And because for what this thing does, and for the very few times that I'm going to find myself using it, I don't want to have this kind of money tied up sitting in my box. It's not huge money, but compared to this, it is significantly more valuable. So I'm happy to have this Lufkin 900. Looks like it's a 900. Yep, this Lufkin Model 900, made in Michigan. Happy to have that in my toolbox. I can live with that and send this down the road where it'll make me more money to buy more stuff. I would like to keep at least maybe like this one extension, but unfortunately Lufkin and Starrett decided to use different thread pitches apparently, because this will only screw in so far and stop. And at first I thought, well, maybe the threads on this were damaged, but I tried and none of these screw in all the way. They all have some kind of conniption. And it's not the holes, because if I take this original Lufkin one out of this hole, it goes in these other holes no problem. Oh, and so here's that other, just like on the Starrett, this has got that hole in the top there, so you can do that. Or you could do this, I guess, if you wanted to. I don't know why you would want to. Oh, I tell you what, I learn something new all the time. A couple of things. It says over here it's available in finished wood case if desired, and then down here it says attractive protective case also available, sent without case unless otherwise ordered. So it's absolutely not unusual at all, the fact that there was no case with this. Probably just ordered it that way. The other thing that's interesting is, note in the picture of the case, they show the 599 with the 3-inch extension and nothing else. And sure enough, down here, the part number is a 52627. That gets you the 599 catalog number, which is going to get you the gauge with a 3-inch extension. So that's all it came shipped with when you ordered it alone. Then, if you added 70486, that was the part number to get you the 1-inch extension. So basically, this is the 1-inch extension that's on here now. So the 1-inch extension was an added accessory. It comes with, when you order the gauge, it comes with just the 3-inch extension. Oddly enough, this 2-inch extension doesn't even belong to the 599 according to the catalog here. Next page, the 246 was available with a 1-inch and a 2-inch extension. So I don't know why that is, but it is what it is. So good. So I can sell this the same way. On the previous page, they show the creme de la creme of universal gauges, the 995. Okay, and the 995 had all kinds of hoojamadidgich and whatever's, and I mean all kinds of little doohickeys to go on there, which made it really a fancy schmancy one. Can imagine that the catalog price on that was probably quite a bit more. And that one you could get the 1-inch extension, and it looks like it came with the 3. So this also, even this big fancy one, only came with the 1 and the 3, not a 2-inch. I guess the idea was that because you can adjust this in and out, you could cover any ranges you needed with just the 1 and the 3. You didn't need a 2-inch. 2-inch is really redundant.